local band.
Somebody help me.
Look, you can guess who it is.
Somebody help me now. Ow, somebody help me now. Somebody help me find my way. Somebody
Very,
help me find my
very
way.
big local band.
I'm all up.
And if you haven't guessed it, I gotta turn it down so I can talk. If you haven't guessed it, I'm doing J.Geils today, which is excellent. This is like kind of a personal band. Known them my whole life, really. It was my sister's favorite band when I was a kid, before like I was even into really music, I think. Back in 1978, 77, I was about 9, 10 years old. So just a little background story. I remember it was my sister's birthday. I think she was 16, I think, because she's 5 years older than me. It was one of those 1980, I think it was. No, 1979 she turned 69. So the reason I'm bringing this up is that the first major like birthday present I bought her was one of these albums that's in this collection, which is kind of cool, which was the Sanctuary album by J.Geils, which I'll show you. And she kept it in great shape, and I have it again, so she doesn't listen to vinyl anymore. So it's kind of cool, kind of a full circle thing. So J.Geils. Great local band. Talk a little about them. I'm not going to give you an exhaustive background of them. I mean, there's a lot of information out there since they are one of the big local Boston bands, such as the Cars, J.Geils, Aerosmith, you all know. Now, technically speaking, I guess from what I understand, Stephen Joel Bladd, born 1942, was one of the real first Bostonian from Mattapan, where the others were from Worcester, I think the Worcester area, which would include J.Geils. I have notes on their names because their names are a little slightly different. It's John Wayman Giles, or J.Geils, so that's pretty close. Now, Peter Wolf was Peter Blankfield. So then he becomes Peter Wolf, and then Richard Salwitz is Magic Dick. So the band is Magic Dick on harmonica, which you hear all the time. Peter Wolf, lead vocals. Danny Klein on bass. J.Geils, the guitarist, and of course Stephen Joel Bladd on drums, and Seth Justman on keyboards. Now that's the original band that was formed in their first album in 1970, which I'll do in a minute. What kind of music is J.Geils? Well, most of you that grew up with it know what it is. It comes out of the title party music, which was true in the 70s and 80s. A lot of people played Ain't Nothing But a House Party, which is one of their big hits. But if you're going to technically break the music down, it's more of an R&B, bluesy sound to it with definite Motown tones and influences, especially since they covered Where Do Our Love Go and do a very good job with it, by the way, which of course was an Aretha Franklin hit. So all these things kind of inculcate J.Geils as an interesting band. Very, very iconic for the landscape. Now, how successful was the band? Relatively. I would say their peak was between Sanctuary and Freeze Frame. Those three albums. Sanctuary is pretty good. Just One Last Kiss was a real big hit. And of course, Love Stinks was a very big album and a very big footprint. And so was Freeze Frame. On the pop side and on the popular side. Now, as a band, they have always been in the background. I've always loved their older stuff. Really, really do. It's got that bluesy feel to it as you just started Looking for a Love and various other songs that they played. Must Have Got Lost. Just really, really good. I'm going to go through album by album. I'm only missing one album. Disclaimer is the album that I am missing is Nightmares and Other Tales from the Vinyl Jungle from 1974, which has a probably good ad. I don't have that. But I have a couple of other albums to make up for it. Like I have Blow Your Face Out, which is a great live album. And I have Peter Wolf's album Lights Out to kind of compensate for that. So that's the band. The kind of music they play, they'd been around since 67, 68 playing their scene. And they congealed and came together in 1970 with their first album, self-titled The J.Geils Band. Right here. Very good album. I have an original first press from Atlantic. This has some really cool stuff on it. As I look at it, the album comes out in 1970. And the big hit on this one that really everyone knows is the First I Look at the Purse. That was kind of a cool song I've heard before. But it opens up with Wait, Icebreaker for the Big M, Cruising for a Love, which was kind of fun. Had a very hard driving man. Serves You the Right. Side 2 is Homework. First I Look at the Purse is the one I talked about. What's Your Hurry? On Borrowed Time. Pack Fair and Square, and then of course Snow Cone. And Snow Cone's pretty cool. It's their first kind of big cool chew tune, and really, really cool. And nice to see them really young. A young picture of them, of the J.Geils band, as you can see right there. Really cool. The album was fairly successful in the local scenes. It wasn't, it was 1970, it was a big year. There was a lot of other music going on. So it was a fairly successful album. The better album that came out was the one called Morning After, which comes out, I have it on Mobile Fidelity, and that's what I was just playing right now. This was released in 1971, and this is the Mobile Fidelity release of it, and this is really, really good. I should grab the glasses, I think, sorry, if I get them up here. Did I grab my glasses? Yeah, they're right here. So I can read this, because this is written kind of, so. This one's side one, I Don't Want You No More, Whamma Jamma, which is a great Magic Dick harmonica song. So Sharp, The Usual Place, and Gotta Have You Love. Side two is Looking for a Love, which I just played, which is one of my favorite songs. That's why I opened up with it. Gonna Find Me a New Love, Cry One More Time, Floyd's Hotel, and Ain't What You Do, It's How You Do It. This is a really, really good album. Really cool. They started to develop more as musicians. They did a lot of touring, a lot of playing on this one. Very, very cool stuff. Very impressive album. It started to congeal as a tighter band. They had some really good guitar licks from J.Geils, some really, really nice work. Predominantly the two songwriters for most of the songs on the J.Geils albums are Seth Justman and Peter Wolf. Now, they didn't always get along until later on, and things happened. And Peter Wolf being the front man is kind of cool. And I've actually met Peter Wolf on numerous occasions when I used to work in Boston back in the 1990s. I worked at a wine store on Huntington Ave, and he would come in occasionally. I've never bothered him. The first time he came in, he asked for wine, and he likes wine, so I just set him up with a case of wine. He came back in again because, he liked my recommendations, I guess. And about the third time he came in, he said, do you know who I am? And I said, well, yeah, I know you are. You're Peter Wolf, the lead singer of J.Geils. And I said, I wasn't going to bother you. And he said, oh, that's cool. So I didn't get any autographs and that stuff, but very nice guy. Tiny, skinny, little tiny man, but kind of cool, but lots of energy, kind of like Mick Jagger. So really cool. So their third album comes out, and it's called Bloodshot. This comes out in 1973, I believe. Yes, it does. They took a year off. And this album is really one of their first big hit albums. This has quite a few big hits on this. This album comes out. This has Ain't Nothing But a House Party, which really was one of their biggest main staple hits that they played. Make Up Your Mind, Back to Get Ya, Strutting With My Baby, and Don't Try to Hide It. Side 2 is South Side Shuffle, South Side Shuffle, do. Really good. Holding Your Love, Start All Over, and then Give It To Me. So there's about 3 big songs on this, and you can see that started to change. They look a little bit, and this is one of the better albums. I don't know if this is the absolute first pressing. It's a red one. I think yellow, I was told, is yellow, red, and gray. I never really followed that. This is a good pressing, though, I can tell you that. Sounds good. It's a clean copy. So, yeah, Bloodshot. Very big album. They also came out with a red vinyl version of it. It's not that rare. You can get a copy of that, too. I may get that just for shits and giggles. But yes, Bloodshot was probably one of their first albums to put them on the map as the J.Geils band. Before, they were more of a local band. People knew who they were, and who they played, and what they did. But this has really kind of put them on the map. Now, in the same year, they also released Ladies Invited. And this album right here, really cool. This has Did You Go No Wrong, I Can't Go On, Lay Your Good Thing Down, That's Why I'm Thinking of You, No Doubt. Side 2 is A Lady Makes Demands, My Baby Don't Love Me, Diddy Boppin', Take a Change, Romance, and Chimes. Now again, it's a little different. Not as big as Bloodshot, but still a very decent album, very decent effort by them. Ladies Invited. Cool stuff. Gotta like it. I like the classic J.Geils sound. I love the keyboard and the integration. The drums are always solid, some good bass lines. Always got some horns going on in there. Magic Dick playing harmonica, alto, and soprano sax, all kinds of crazy stuff going on. So very, very cool. Very cool stuff. So as they roll along, this is the, I think the next album was Hotline, and then the album I don't have is the Tales from the Vinyl Jungle. Hotline comes out in 1974, I believe. I believe this is a 1974 release. Let's go find out to be exactly correct on this. Sorry. 1975, sorry. 74, I think, was the Tales from the Vinyl Jungle, which was a big hit, by the way. Had a lot of hits on that one. I had 2 hits on that one. This one comes out, and this has Love It. Love It Is, Easy Way Out, Think It Over, Be Careful, and Jealous Love, Mean Love, Orange Driver, Believe in Me, and Fancy Footwork. Not as a well-received album as the album before, Tales from the Vinyl Jungle, which had a little bit more hits, I guess you could say. But this one's cool. I've always liked this album. It's got really a bluesy sound to it, lots of great guitar work, just really, really cool stuff. Always liked Hotline. Thought it was a decent album, one of the underrated albums. Because the next album that comes out after Hotline, Monkey Island, this album here is a little bit more with Peter Wolf on the cover. This really shows, and this really kind of shows their live acts and what have you. Very, very good stuff on this one. This has Surrender, You're the Only One. This has the I Do, which is a very doo-woppy 1950 sound. Do, 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 do. Really cool. Somebody, I'm Falling, and then side two's Monkey Island, I'm Not Rough, So Good, and Wreckage. Very good album. This is really kind of the end of that era of J.Geils, which was really a bluesy, rocky, party music kind of thing. Then they became a little bit, I would say, more produced. And with that came the Sanctuary album. And this was the album I talked about at the opening of the show. This is the album I bought my sister. She even kept it in the plastic. Look at that, how cool it is. One Last Kiss. Just really, really cool. Very, very cool album. This, again, had really big hits. This was really the beginning of J.Geils becoming the big band that they were. This has I Could Hurt You, One Last Kiss, which was the big hit on this, Take It Back, and then Sanctuary was a big hit, too. Then Teresa. Side 2 was Wild Man, which I've always liked. I Can't Believe You, I Don't Hang Around Much Anymore, and Just Can't Stop Me. Now, as you can see from this album, still in the plastic, which I love, it also has the insert, which was kind of cool. So they were getting to be a little bit more, as you can see, Sanctuary there, and then the insert with the monotone, monolithic graphic. Very cool album. This was really starting to put them on to the top. Now, they'd been a big, solid band before, but this, of course, becomes their handprint, Hey J.Geils. They really, really started to print out on this one. This was really the beginning of them as a big band, a bigger band. And, of course, this was also the time. This, by the way, this album comes out in 1978. And I remember that. I remember when it came out because it was a new album when it came out. It was the album that my sister wanted. And this came out in 1978, and this was pretty big. This was a pretty big one. Even has the Caldor sticker on it. Caldor, remember Caldor? So yes, J.Geils, Sanctuary, very, very cool album. Very cool album. Going on to probably their biggest album that yielded the most hits and still played a lot today, and that would be, of course, the 1980 release of Love Stinks. Really 50s look on the front, really cool cover. This has a lot of hits, and this album I am extremely familiar with. I played it ad nauseum. Side 1, I don't even have to look at it. It's Just Can't Wait, and it goes right into Comeback, which I always loved. Taking You Down, Nighttime, and No Anchovies, Please, which is a really cool song about a wife turning into a bowling ball, which is kind of crazy. Side 2 is Love Stinks, of course. Try Not to Think About It, Desire, and Till the Walls Come Tumbling Down. Really cool with 50s pictures of them as kids on the back. Really kind of cool. Very, very, very cool album. A lot of great hits, and as you can see, the inside has the whole 50s genre theme going on. This by far is probably their #1 selling album because it had the most hits on it. It has Love Stinks on it. It has Just Can't Wait. It has Comeback. The only album that would probably rival this one closely, but I still think this one oversold it, but can't be completely sure about, would be Freeze Frame, which of course would be the next album. And this comes out in 1980. It still has the pink Sanctuary label, and they are now signed with EMI, which is different, and they weren't with Atlantic anymore, which is kind of cool. I think this is EMI too, if I'm correct. Yep. This is their EMI days. So once they leave, because Geils is on Atlantic, and just notice that. So they're different sound. That older period is the Atlantic sound, and this I would have to say is kind of, if you call them the Beatles, that's the Atlantic years, and this is the EMI years. Now, the next album comes out, I believe this was 1983. I was in middle school. I remember when this album came out, and I think I'm right. Yep, it's EMI, and it is, am I correct? This is all by memory, by the way, guys. You got to give me a break. I didn't do any research on this one. '81, I guess. 1981. There we go. Now, this album has a lot of good hits on it, as you know. Different sound. This was on MTV, Freeze Frame. Rage in the Cage is pretty cool. Centerfold. Freeze Frame and Centerfold were the big ones on this. Flamethrower is pretty cool. They had that. Piss on the Wall, Angel in Blue, and River Blindness. Insane Again. Really cool. Kind of cool with the art in the back there of them together. This, again, is on EMI. This is their third release on EMI. Excuse me. Very, very good album. I liked it. It had kind of a party sound to it. If out of all the albums that J.Geils has done, I would have to say this is by far the most pop of their albums, I would say. Love Stinks was a little poppy, but it still had their edge to it. But this was definitely more on the pop side of their sound. And then the last album that I'm aware of is, again, this is Getting Even While You're Getting Odd. This is really the last major album as a band of J.Geils, and this, I believe, was on EMI too. Yep, on the EMI label, as you can see, really cool looking label here. And then this one's pretty cool. This has got some pretty cool stuff on it. As I as I push through. Sorry. Yeah. It has the original inner sleeve. And the songs on this just weren't as big as the previous two albums, as Love Stinks. It wasn't as well received. This has Concealed Weapons, Heavy Petting, Wasted Youth, Tell Me Jonesy, and Inside Twos, You're Getting Even While I'm Getting Odd, The Bike From Inside, California Catching, and I Will Carry You Home. Yeah. Again, decent album. Just kind of, the band wasn't really doing what they were, they wasn't as strong and as potent as their earlier work. And you can see it's one of the last albums that they did. Again, this is the J.Geils band discography. Now, I have a couple other things I want to talk about. I didn't get Tales from the Vinyl Jungle. That was the only one I didn't have. And I had a couple big hits on it from 74, I believe. Now, the other album that I have that I'm going to make up for that is, of course, Blow Your Face Out. Great album. This is probably considered one of the great, what I consider one of the great live albums of the 70s. You got like Live Bullet, and you have like, the Led Zeppelin song Remains the Same, and this is a really good album. This is a 2-set album. This one's in pretty good shape. I got one in pretty good shape. Gray label. This is just all live. Southside Shovel, Back to You, Shoot You Got, Must Have Got Lost, Where Did Our Love Go, Truck Driving Man, Love It Is, Intro, House Party, So Sharp, Detroit Breakdown, Snow Cone, Wait. Basically, Give It To Me, all their big hits. And this comes out in 1976. I think it's 76. Is it 76? Yeah. Yeah, 76. So this comes out right before Monkey Island comes out. So this is really a conglomeration of all their early Atlantic stuff. Even though Monkey Island is their last Atlantic album. So this is pre-Sanctuary. Great album. Highly recommend it. Hard to get in good shape, though. I gotta admit, this has gone up in value because usually it's beat up and it's one of those albums that's played all the time. Party music, woohoo, kind of shit, rock and roll. But this is a good version. I got a good copy of it. It's worth about $40-50 in good shape. If you can get one that's not beat up and this has all the inserts and everything. There's not a lot of inserts on this one, I believe, but it does open up nicely. Has all the nice photo in there. And then I believe it has, this has the original tour date sleeves and what have you right here, as you can see, both of them. So again, pretty cool stuff. Great album. Now, just to follow up, not really part of the J.Geils discography, but one of the albums that Peter Wolf did. He did a couple. This was one of the big ones. This was called Lights Out. Really good album. Excellent album. Has his big song Lights Out, which was kind of a hit. I Need You Tonight, Ooh Diddly Bop, Gloomy Sunday, Baby Please Don't Go, Crazy, Poor Girls, Here Comes the Hurt, Pretty Lady, Mars Needs Woman, and Billy Big Time. Great album. Now, I don't know a lot about this. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to pop it open and see who the band members were in this band that went on tour with Peter Wolf. Just want to curious if he had any of the J.Geils people with him. Nope. This is a completely different band. Yeah, all different people. Elliot Easton, who's also a well-known guitarist. Sam Ricky Papers, Gordon Wolf. Yeah, all different. Got funky horns, all kinds of things going on. So very cool. Cool album. Like I said, cool album, but no relation to J.Geils. It's a Peter Wolf solo album, which I believe his other one is too. So that's Peter Wolf. So that's J.Geils, guys. Again, a really cool personal band that I had a lot of kind of interest in. I always love to listen to them. It's kind of a party, fun, feel-good kind of music. Bluesy, rhythm and blues, rock and roll kind of thing going on there. So it's a really nice band. So if you are into J.Geils, Max J Records, he's got quite a few of these. You can also order some. And, of course, the MoFi one, I don't know, that might be out of print now. That was really cool. So it would be nice to see them do different things. So, again, the other thing that I want to just post up on, they were nominated in 2008, 11, all right, let me see. 2005, 2006, 2011, 2017, and 2018 for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and never got in, which I think is kind of sad. I think they should have. They really exemplified rock and roll. A lot of the members that are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame now are not really. I don't want to go on a rant on that. I've already done that before. I don't know. It's too political, so they weren't political enough. But they were definitely a rock and roll band. They should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And, of course, in 2017, J.Geils died, so it's kind of sad that it would have been nice if they got inducted before he died, if they do still get inducted. Let's hope. So, yes, he died. And the rest of the band members are alive, but I don't know anything about a touring reunion. They did that before J.Geils died. I don't think that'll happen, but Peter Wolf has played at the Narrows down in Fall River a couple of times, and he just played recently, so he does play in the area, and you can see Peter Wolf, and of course he plays a lot of J.Geils standards, which is cool. So Well, that's J.Geils. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And Doc Vinyl's out. We're going to be up for another band next week. Take it easy, guys. Stay safe. And happy holidays.